Uh, as I said, today we have a very interesting speaker with us, Mr. Mahesh Zagade. He doesn't need introduction for the activists and concerned citizens. We have been reading about him on and off when he was on government duty. Plenty of good work that he has done. And we are glad that today he has consented to speak to us about a very interesting topic, which is very close to everyone, every activist's heart, every concerned citizen's heart, on how to hold public servants accountable. So we are glad with him. Mahesh Zagade ji, welcome over here with us in this webinar. And we hope to, yes, sir. We hope to, gain from you, from your experience and from your guidance in future too, for such similar governance issues. So we'll be keen on you joining us on and off whenever, we require, sir. All right. I'll give a brief introduction. I mean, the introduction that Mahesh Zagade ji has given us is, tremendous. Lots of achievements are there to his credit. We are so glad about it. And
I think,
of course,
can you please save on time on the introduction? I think that really is not needed. So anyway.
Sir, one minute, sir. Please give me 1 minute. I think, everyone needs to be given. Many people are aware of all your achievements and what you're this thing, but just 1 minute, I'll read out fast. I've made a note of it, sir. All right. Mr. Mahesh Zagade is a retired IAS officer of 1993 batch, and he has served the Maharashtra government and the government of India for the past 37 years. He's MSc in phytopathology, and he has received several national and international awards. He has a vast experience in the field of administration, and currently he is the chairman of the Public Concern of Governance Trust, PCGT. And in public sector, he has served many important high-level posts, such as he was the principal secretary of GAD, divisional commissioner of Nashik Division, Metropolitan Commissioner of Nashik Metropolitan Region Development Authority, and Metropolitan Commissioner and CEO of PMRDA, Pune Metropolitan Region Development Authority. He was the FDA Commissioner and the Commissioner of Food Safety in Maharashtra in the year 2011 to 2014. He was the Municipal Commissioner of Pune Municipal Corporation from 2009 to 2011 and Director General of Maharashtra Energy Development Agency, Pune. And there are plenty long list of achievements. Maybe some other time we'll be able to elaborate on that. So let's begin today. A few points for everyone. Kindly, we need to, as I said, we need to wind up. Mr. Zagade has requested that, he'll speak less comparatively, but more on, he'll elaborate well upon the question and answer which follows after his talk. So please keep your paper and pen ready. If you have any queries, please note it down. So, and be brief in the queries. And I'm sure Mr. Mahesh Zagade ji will be able to, satisfy our this thing. And let's begin. Mahesh Zagade ji, please take over.
Thank you, Mr. Voraji, and good evening to all of you. And thank you for me having here to have some dialogue with you. I would not say that some discourse from my side, but let's have a dialogue. A lot of questions and answers, because of, the governmental system itself is a very solid mystic arena, and many people really do not understand what goes inside, and therefore people they just started opening up after the RTI, but still it remains a mystery for the common man. Now, to give you the brief about like what I am going to speak, it is, in fact, the topic itself, it's like how to hold the governmental officers accountable. Now, the topic itself should not have arisen in a democratic setup, because they are supposed to be accountable, and they are created to be accountable. They are there to be accountable to the king. Now, here king, as all of you know, is the voter or the common man. And now we are now struggling and having, it is a very sad part that we have to open up this topic, that how to hold them accountable. In fact, this question should not have arisen, but because of the legacy of last 72 years, this topic is still being discussed, and things are going bad to worse, as everyone knows about this. See, it is like I have never been a part of the government as such, in the sense that although I was there for 34 years in the government, before that I was in a British multinational company, but I was not actually part of the government. I always kept my distance from the government as if I am a common man. And that I kept me like looking at the systems from the common man's perspective all the time. So that has kept my mind fresh about what common man feels about the government, and why not to conduct the government business the way it is supposed to be conducted. Now, before going to the whole lot of the provisions and all that, let me tell you one thing. There has been a lot of pollution in the perception of how to hold the governmental machinery accountable. I will speak about the machinery now, not just the officers, but the entire machinery accountable. This itself is wrong. My proposition is that we should not hold them accountable, as I said earlier. In fact, they should be accountable as like their innate ability to govern or to deliver. One thing that has happened during the past few decades is that instead of they being service providers, they have become authorities. Now, this is very serious. In democracy, it has to be a service provider. When democracy started 2,528 years ago in Athens, at that time, it was supposed to be that it is the system of governance where everybody is participating for everybody's benefit. But today, after the 2028, 29 years, it has assumed the kind of structure that the givers and takers. Government has become givers and the common has become takers. Now, I think this is a very rotten, very distorted version of democracy. But unfortunately, we collectively, all of us have forgotten this. And we then we have to really think about how to come out of this situation that has been fossilized, that has become a part of everyday's life. And therefore, this system has become authority versus the receivers. There has to be a paradigm shift in the thinking first in the population. Unless and until we have a paradigm shift about our thinking, that they are there, the official machinery is there to serve us, unless and until we have that kind of notion, unless and until we have this kind of system in this country, ecosystem in this country, nothing is going to change. Webinars like this, or whatever we do is not at all going to change, unless and until every common man starts thinking that the givers and takers, from givers and takers to the service providers and the service receivers. So this paradigm shift of thinking in democracy has to come in, and I think like a forum like yours, you can definitely spread it across. Unless and until we start thinking, every common man starts thinking in that direction, that is going to change. Now let me take you to the basic provisions of the law, where the official machinery is supposed to be a service provider. They are supposed to deliver without asking by the common man. And that came from the, and why they should do it. We normally debate that the political machinery do not allow the administrative machinery to function properly, and therefore the corruption, delays, and all kind of things happen. But this was also discussed during the Constituent Assembly's debates, and they have created a robust structure, very good anatomy of legal provisions where this official machinery is protected. That protection emanates from the Article 311 of the Constitution, where governmental machinery, they have given protection that nobody can remove, no political system or political bosses can remove anybody without proper inquiry. And upon conducting inquiry, if something is amiss is noticed, then of course one has to face charges. But the basic provision, basic shield that is given to the bureaucracy or the official machinery is that they have given protection from the vagaries of political system, so that they can deliver the services to the common man without any pressures or without any distortion. Secondly, there are many such provisions as Article 309, the conditions of service by rules. And conditions of service are very important, and this forum should know that to hold them accountable comes from these services, these conduct rules that has come as a offspring of Article 309 of the Constitution. What does it say? it says that the state or the central government, president or the governor, they can stipulate the conditions of service. Now, what are the conditions of service? I will not go into the details, but they have to, official machinery, all India services from IPS, IAS and all these officers to right up to Patwari's level at the state level, they have to deliver. They have to, I mean, you must read this. This is a very longer versions, Rule 1968 conduct rules of all India services like IAS and other officers. And for the state level, all the states have these conditions of service. But unfortunately, common man does not know. How a governmental machinery has to function is provided there. And while if it is really secure, they have to perform their duties on time. That is coming from the constitutional rules. It flows directly from the constitutional rules. If they do not perform that way, then disciplinary action can be taken. They can be removed. They can be dismissed. But how many such officials or the employees are dismissed in this country under this rule? Very few of them are negligible because they are not performing on time. They should not delay. That is also there. They should be very transparent. It is provided there in that rule. They should not be they should not be pressurized by their political bosses. That is also provided in those rules. They should not conduct, they should not indulge in corruption. They should also, like senior officials are also given responsibility that all the machinery working under them should also not be corrupt. All such things are provided in the conduct rules. And since unfortunately, many of the employees, they also do not know what are the conduct rules. My suggestion to this petition group is that you should know these are the conduct rules. You should really try to understand that and start really making use of this, because you are supposed to behave this way, and therefore you are not behaving the way you are supposed to behave. Now, I will just go cursorily to another set of rules that is like Article 77 of the Constitution and Article 166 of the Constitution. Article 77 of the Constitution is for the Government of India, where they can and they do have the business rules of business, how government affairs are to be conducted. And for the state government, we'll take the case of Maharashtra, the rules of business of Maharashtra government under Article 166. In that, there are various provisions. I will not go into that. But one provision is that the secretary, there has to be secretary to every department. That is rule number 7. And that secretary is accountable, responsible for whatever happens in his department. Now, say, for example, one Patwari at a village level, or Gram Sevak at a village level, or a constable at any level, whatever wrong he does or whatever he doesn't do what he's supposed to do, then secretary of the department is responsible. We really do not take into this is like, okay, rule remains the rule book. There are other sets of rules, what should be done and what should not be done. But then for everything, the secretary has to be accountable. I will leave aside, because of the paucity of time, I will not go to the details of these rules of businesses. But my proposition is that rules of business should be the real tool in the hands of the public, that secretaries of the departments have to be taken to task, that this is mandated by the Constitution and under the rules of business. And Mr. Secretary, you are supposed to control your department administratively. Ministers are there. That's the political leadership. But the rules of business mandate that the entire machinery functions the way conduct rules are mentioned there. And if they do not function, then Secretary has to take the cognizance of it and take disciplinary action, and then create a pressure ecosystem where the services are provided on time, where corruption doesn't happen, where delays do not occur. Everything, buck stops at the level of secretary. And I'm telling you insider story. Yes, he is empowered to do it through various tools. One tool I will just mention for the sake of brevity, and that is the annual confidential reports. The entire governmental system is secured at one place. It is like kind of a range. There is controlling mechanism. The annual confidential reports. These reports are essential for promotions, many other aspects. So the rules of the annual confidential reports are written by higher authorities, and ultimately it goes to the secretary. Secretary with this tool can control entire official machinery in his under his charge, and therefore whatever is happening in the state or whatever is not happening that is supposed to happen squarely is at the doorstep of the secretary, and it is the failure of the secretaries, the failure of the institution of secretaries, whatever the situations today that we face, that the government faces, is because of the negligence of the secretaries sitting in Mantralaya or state secretariat, could be in Maharashtra, could be in any other state, or could be in Government of India also. Now, a third proposition which I am, let me tell you is that about the delays. What corruption happens and how all these things happen is because of the delays. There also, like in Maharashtra, the act has come in 2005, how to prevent delays. And in that, no paper should remain on anybody's table, or every such instrument should be handled or processed within 7 days. That is provided in the Act of 2008 and regulations and rules that no officer or no employee can sit on any paper for more than 7 days, or any decision that is to be taken by the department has to be taken within 45 days maximum, whatever is there. And for speedier decisions, there cannot be signatures of more than 3 officers on any file or any proposal. But unfortunately, this doesn't happen, and the delays are caused, humongous number of delays caused in the state everywhere. So this is like the whole thing. Like if this happens, then probably if the secretaries start taking charge, nothing is going to happen. But that doesn't happen. Secondly, let me tell you once, like, we understand that it is the secretary under the constitutional rules, rule made under constitutional provisions. If he performs, then things happen. And I am telling you, insiders' perspective, where whatever positions I have held, I did exactly the same thing, be as a municipal commissioner, or as a district collector, or as transport commissioner, wherever. With the same machinery, if you start pulling the strings, they become very, very effective, or entire machinery becomes very effective. Therefore, we need to understand that rather than going from place to place for work is not being done, ecosystem at the global level, at a very larger landscape level, there has to be movement across the country in the state that the secretaries have to perform. Otherwise, we should be asking action against them. That secretary has failed in whatever is happening in his department. Everything has to be attributed to the secretary's performance, either failure or his delivery system. Another issue let's take it forward is about whatever happens. Then we normally, whenever there is new government that comes in power, they like, let me tell my 34 years experience in the government, that there is no politician who doesn't want to do anything good for the people. Nothing. They may not do anything, but nobody likes to go against the people. Everybody likes to serve for the people. But then the bureaucracy, they give them some kind of toy every time. If they come, no, there are too many complaints and all these things. This administration in the country has become grievance redressal administration or reactive administration. The provisions which I told you are for the proactive administration. Unfortunately, this proactive administration has been converted into reactive or grievance redressal administration for the common man. My experience of 34 years tell me that, and I have, since I have got a little background of science, I always worked on the laws of science, and I believe in them. So I had my own law, and let me tell you this law. The level of corruption is inversely proportional to the level of implementation of laws, statutes, or the schemes. That means, like, if the law is implemented 100%, the scope for corruption is almost zero. Same thing for the schemes, same thing for the programs. And the level of the implementation, way it goes down, the corruption level goes up. And that is simply the function of the secretary. If the secretary is very reasonable, if he's taking efforts, then probably level of corruption goes down. Now, another issue about the government, maybe in the private sector also, government runs on two things. One is about continuous reviews every month, every fortnight, every week, what is happening, and then take corrective measures or auditing. This has failed in the state, this has failed in the country, that reviews are not happening, whether laws are being made, but they are not being reviewed, and therefore the accountability is lost. Many laws do come, but they do not get the kind of level of implementation that is supposed to be there. The parliaments have done wonderfully well in enacting the laws. The state legislatures have done wonderfully well, but the level of implementation at the field level is not adequate, and that is purely the failure of the secretaries or the head of the department. And therefore, we need to hold one person accountable in the state for every department. All the things are going to be set right, and this is my personal experience. Now, let's move further. Whenever I said new government comes in, then we keep on throwing that grievance redressal, some kind of new tool or new game or new rules of games. Like we have RTI, then we have Lok Shahidin, then we have right to services, we have headquarter day, we have the specific hours to meet the people. There are too many such things. Every time they come, okay, and then now portals, so many things. Do we really need these things? The scheme that is provided in the Act, this is not needed. There should not be any complaints. The number of complaints in a department are the indication that the department, if it is very large, that means it is not functioning properly. Let me give me one example, since all of you are activists. RTIs is supposed to be it has to, this act has to create a culture of information, flow of information, transparency ultimately, and then transparency has to go in such a way that we will not need the law itself. If everything comes under in the public domain under section 4, then you do not need anything. In fact, I started as a chief executive officer of Jilla Parishad in Sindhudurg in 1998. Your law of Maharashtra came in 2002. Central law came in 2005. But I started at my own level in 1998, the right to information services. And that was received very well by the people there. But after that, like after the 2005 till today, for RTI, it is downhill. It is not creating the culture. I am coming to it like why I am giving you example. We normally have different like RTI, this, but it is not getting implemented. If you take the review, every year, if the culture is to be built up, the number of applications should have gone down, because the information, it should have been made available publicly, or the first information officer should have given it freely. But that doesn't happen, and I'm told currently about 42,000 or some such appeals, second appeals are pending in the state. Now, that itself indicates that the RTI Act is not getting implemented properly. Now, what the secretaries are doing? Secretaries have to, I'm giving you just example, have to, like say for example, Revenue Department Secretary. He has to take review every month why RTI applications are going up every month. If he has to say that to every collector, to all the divisional commissioners, I want RTI applications to come down, appeals to come down, not application, appeals to come down. Now, how to bring down the appeals? Give the information. He can hold the collectors responsible. He can hold the commissioner, divisional commissioner responsible. And secondly, why applications are coming. Now, if the applications are coming, that means the information on in section 4 is not coming forth, or the citizen's charter is not there, or the services are not getting provided, or the right to services act is also not getting implemented. The secretary has to monitor it every day. And let me tell you something. When I was secretary, GAD, principal secretary GAD, I try to like say get the information whether secretaries are taking any review, that how many applications under RTI received in the state and how many appeals are getting generated. There was no review. And this is exactly what I am saying, that unless and until things are reviewed by the senior officers, government doesn't function properly. The government functions only on two principles: review, monitor, and take corrective measures. If this is very weak, then the kind of such grievances get generated. And then the community of activists like RTI activists, then right to services activist. Because see, if something is not coming, then of course people have to struggle for this. So this struggle becomes. My premise is that once you pay your taxes, your job is over. The services are supposed to be provided to you. It is not that you have to make again application and appeal and then High Court and Supreme Court. No. So this culture has to go. And it is, I normally always say that like RTI and all these things is like we are putting some band-aid or bandage on some scratch when the entire system is cancerous. We have to create it, treat the cancer, treat the system and make it functional. And how to make it functional? Catch hold of the senior most officer in the department. Now, the grievance redressal system, I'm against this. Grievance redressal system is very archaic, very old thing. Like something happens or does not happen. So it is like post-mortem kind of thing. That should not happen. Something wrong should not happen, or something should happen immediately, and therefore there should not be any room for grievance. Grievance, even Lokpal, RTI, everything, all the grievance portals, Lok Shahid Din, everything is post-mortem. See, this culture has to go. All the activists have to work for elimination of this culture. They have to see that such grievances do not generate again. Even if one particular grievance is generated, that has to be addressed, that similar such grievance should not get generated in that office or in that department again. Why it should generate? So we have to change the culture of grievance redressal to prevention of grievances. And all my career, I worked for this, how to prevent generation of grievances. Now, there are various ways and methods. First and simple is that you implement law as it is. Secondly, as far as possible, provide it proactively, provide information proactively. And thirdly, of course, there has to be minimum government. People are not supposed to go to the government officers and seek the services all the time. Like say, for example, I will give example of railway ticketing. Earlier, if you remember, some of you may not also know that, younger generation, that you have to stand in the queue to get a railway ticket. But nowadays, tickets are issued online and nobody sits on the other side of the window or other side of the system. The system gives it. Why governmental services cannot be given by the system itself? Why do you require governmental machinery? So you say there is question of accountability doesn't really occur. We have the artificial intelligence, we have the blockchain kind of systems. Why government doesn't adopt that? It is possible. When I was PMRDA commissioner, Metropolitan Commissioner, I created one such system for building permissions. Now, building permission, as everybody know, it's a very it's a corruption-ridden system. The money is being paid on the basis of per square foot or per square meter. I made a system, a software where nobody will approve it. System will approve it. If it is not correct, then system will reject it or it will not approve until it is properly done. All the departments, all the services has this potential that these services can be handled by system, and there need not be any officer, need not be any employee to handle it. For this, I think the forum like yours, if you try to change the face of the governance, and since the today's technology has provided that ecosystem, which can be done very easily, like say in Estonia, there you do not have to require any chartered accountant or anyone to submit your income tax returns. Their government does it in the system, automatically get generated, and the message simply comes to you that this is your income tax and you pay, or if you want any if you want to make any corrections, please suggest. So it is done by the system itself. Nobody does it. We do not have to run around because everything is there. So in government, there is 100% possibility of, even today, not in the distant future, that we can migrate towards the system generated thing, and it becomes accountable 100%. We do not have to, by which the governmental machinery will be becoming accountable. Now, let's come to, I will give you some examples. We talk about the slums, too many slums, and then slum rehabilitation and the services to be provided slum dwellers. But more than that, the slums, their generations suffering, they suffer the life as slum dwellers, which is very bad. As a municipal commissioner, I used to go through the different slums. The life there is extremely, pathetic. So, but then later on, what happens? Later on, then once you suffer that life for 1 or 2 generations, then you give them free housing. But the condition is that you will get free housing only after suffering 2 or 3 generations as slum dwellers. My point is that under the MRTP Act, or for Mumbai, that is the Mumbai Municipal Corporation Act, or for the rest of Maharashtra Provincial Metropolitan Act, or the acts governing the development plans, there the authority, that is the municipal commissioner or the chief officers, are responsible for all the constructions. Nobody, including the owner of the plot, can put up a small brick on his plot unless there is permission from the municipal commissioner, that is the authority. Now, how these slums have come in? It's only because for the last 60, 70 years or more than that, the commissioners have neglected it. And they start speaking that, okay, this is like, okay, no, it's not okay. It is the commissioner himself is responsible for all these slums coming there, all the potholes coming there. Everything boils down there, and then you start blaming. My point is that, like, if you tomorrow see any illegal construction and your application as an RTI activist goes to the ward officer or at the most goes to the commissioner, that some action should be taken. No, your application should be to the commissioner that you have failed in controlling this kind of illegal construction, or you have failed in having these potholes, because potholes are because of not anything else. Potholes are because of bad quality, and bad quality is because of something else that everyone knows. So it's not that you please correct it or take action against the ward officer or junior engineer. No, you should be seeking action against the municipal commissioner. You should be seeking action against the secretary. Unless and until that happens, I don't think things are going to change anytime. And then every time you have to make applications. You have to, if the application is not heard, then you have to make appeals. Nothing, then the High Court. And this culture will continue. If you want to put a break to this culture, start holding the senior most officials accountable for whatever is happening in the department. This is what, in fact, I wanted to tell you. As I said, I will give a lot of time for discussion. Almost 1 hour I will give, and then I will discuss it forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maheshji. I request everyone to raise their hand, whoever wishes to speak and ask queries to Maheshji. Okay, we have less time now, about 50 minutes we have. So whoever wishes to ask queries about sanction to be taken from competent authority or any other issue regarding the level of officers to be prosecuted or made accountable. So please raise your hand. Neeraj, please take over.
Android Bluebird.
Whoever's raised the hand, please mention your name and ask the query fast. Otherwise, Neeraj, go to the next one.
Hello, Ji.
Okay, my
Mr.
name is
Pallav.
Pallav Mukherjee. I am from an architect from Chandigarh, and we have major problems with plan sanction. It is a mega crore industry in Chandigarh. Chandigarh is a totally administrative controlled union territory. There are no politicians here, and the mayor has got zero power. So we don't know whom to approach. The entire administration is controlled by 3 people. And the 3 people are the Home Secretary, the Finance Secretary, and the IGP, the police. And there are 40 odd departments, and they do what they feel like. How do we handle that? And there is no redressal.
Basically, the problems are like this. The construction, like delay could be in the sanctioning of the plans, number 1.
Yes.
Number 2, some illegal plans are getting sanctioned without abiding by the DC regulations and all that. And thirdly, where the constructions are being allowed without sanctioning of the plans. And fourthly, they could be asking for money also. These are the proper normal grievances. If I'm not wrong?
Absolutely, that is how it is. You see, what is happening is in Chandigarh, you can't get a plan, you can't make a building without a sanction plan. It's a small place, maximum area is 50 odd kilometers of town area. And every plot is, how do I put it, demarcated. And now they have what is known as a smart city corporation. So they've installed thousands of cameras and all that. So this place is getting to be like a police state. They have control over everything and they want money at every stage.
Therefore, the whatever wrong is happening, your association, you have to come together. See, I'll tell you, I have also worked as municipal commissioner. I have also worked as metropolitan commissioner at two places. If you people are together and if you do not want any wrong to happen, see, there are some people, they always like to take disadvantages of the system. And therefore, they are very close to the bureaucratic machinery and they try to influence them. You have to really put your association, like in order and tell them, no, we are not going to allow any such thing from our side to happen, even 0.1% of additional FSI or whatever, which is not legally allowed. So all those things are margin places and all that. So whatever they give smaller benefits here and there, and then they try to like overpower you that, okay, I have done something for you there, which was illegal. Now you keep quiet. First thing to start with is that, okay, everything will be transparent and whatever is like delay, you must really try to address. Now, the union territory, being it union territory, it is centrally government. You must make, if first letter has to go, not that this is wrong. You have to tell that whosoever is the final authority there in Chandigarh, that such wrong things are happening, you are responsible directly because of this. And if he doesn't listen to write to the Secretary Urban Development or the Cabinet Secretary, that this officer has done this thing and it is not doing it. We normally say that the wrong has happened and we talk about wrong. No, the wrong has happened because the control of the main officer, chief officer there, who is holding the highest post, if he doesn't listen, then he is the ultimate authority. That's how you have to escalate. Things will start changing.
I have an email ID of yours. Is it possible to communicate with you separately?
Pardon?
I said, could we have an email ID of yours on the screen so that we could communicate with you separately if need be?
Of course, Mr. Vora would circulate my email ID like to you.
All right, okay, fine. So there are hundreds of questions, but let's put it this way. They have a system. There is a system of sorting people out. People are scared. I'm referring to all the architects. So they individually target each one of them. Like if you're in a crowd and not wearing a mask, the police will not say anything. But if you're sitting in a car alone or with your son or daughter or somebody, then you are targeted by the police because you're not wearing a mask. Soft targets.
I agree, but I really appreciate that you have at least taken up this issue to discuss openly. People are so scared here not to discuss such issues openly because the system has become so polluted. Let me tell you one small example how things could be done. I was Metropolitan Commissioner and under me was 7,000 square kilometer of area. I got it air surveyed. Each land parcel of say like few square feet, like 100 square feet or 150 from there, each land parcel was measured with coordinates. Now you do not require to again measure it again and again and again once. And the government maps were superimposed on that. Now you do not require to measure it again. You do not require to do anything. You take your cursor there and then it becomes, I had even done the contouring of it. Everything is there. So you do not have to, come to any authority. The system itself can really approve the plans. But unfortunately, it reduces corruption to the zero level. So after my departure from that department, it stood there only. So it did not get implemented. But my point is that such systems are available in the market. It's not that things are not available. Only thing is that there has to be real pressure from all the corners. Like, okay, you're targeting us individually, but collectively, we need such a system.
All right. Neeraj Krishna Gupta wishes to ask, or whoever else has raised the hand, please hand over the mic.
Shivnarayan ji.
हाँ, मैं बात करूं?
हाँ बोलिए शिवनारायण जी, बोलिए।
हाँ हाँ, देखिए, एक बिल्डर के खिलाफ 500 लोगों ने सिग्नेचर करके अवैध निर्माण के मामले में कंप्लेंट करी, है ना? फिर एमएमआरडीए ने उसको नोटिस दिया। एमएमआरडीए ने एक नोटिस ये भी निकाला पुलिस प्रोटेक्शन के लिए कि ये जगह को तोड़ना है, मतलब उसको खत्म करना है। ये सब हुआ। फिर उस बिल्डर ने एक इलीगल इलेक्ट्रिक केबल लगवाया। उसके ऊपर एमएमआरडीए ने उसको नोटिस दिया, उसको बिल्डर को नोटिस नहीं दिया, बल्कि रिलायंस को नोटिस दिया, और जो वहां पर इन्होंने सिक्योरिटी एजेंसी थी उनको नोटिस दिया। बिल्डर के खिलाफ बहुत सारी कंप्लेंट है। ओके, अब बिल्डर को वो जगह, जिस जगह को कहते उसने कब्जा किया हुआ है, जिस जगह पे उसने अवैध निर्माण किया गया है, वो सब रेंट पर दे दी गई बिल्डर को। रेंट एग्रीमेंट में वो चीजें मेंशन होनी चाहिए कि कौन सी चीज पे अवैध निर्माण हुआ है या क्या नहीं हुआ है, ये सारी चीजें आनी चाहिए। तो क्या यहाँ पर अगर नहीं आई है, और ऊपर से जो रेंट एग्रीमेंट बना है वो इस प्रकार से बना है जैसे हम किसी दामाद को कुछ चीज देते हैं, मतलब उसके उसके साथ बिल्कुल बहुत ही मतलब ऐसे प्यार से, जैसे कि अगर आपने रेंट नहीं दिया तो आपको 14% इंटरेस्ट देना पड़ेगा, अगर आपने कोई भी नियम का फॉलो नहीं किया तो आपका डिपॉजिट जब्त हो जाएगा। अब जिस तारीख को इसको मिला अपने रेंट पर, उससे 15 दिन के बाद ही उसने उस जगह पर चेंजिंग कर दी जो मिला, जिसका नोटिस भी दिया एमएमआरडीए ने उसको, और उसके लिए पुलिस प्रोटेक्शन की भी मांग की। मगर जस्ट 15 दिन के बाद उस बिल्डर के खिलाफ कोई कार्रवाई नहीं की, उसके ऊपर कुछ भी नहीं हुआ, कोई भी चीज। तो यहाँ पर एमएमआरडी के सारे अधिकारी, जितने भी अधिकारी यहाँ पर आईएएस स्तर के, सबके सब पूरी तरीके पेपरों पर, डॉक्यूमेंट्स के अंदर पूरी तरीके से अपने नियम के खिलाफ उन्होंने काम किया है। बिल्डर भ्रष्टाचार मतलब क्लियर है। तो हमें इस मामले में किस तरीके से इनके ऊपर एक्शन ले सकते हैं, इसके बारे में।
आपका सवाल सही है कि आपने वहां पे अवैध निर्माण हो रहा था, उसके लिए आपने कंप्लेंट किया एमएमआरडी के पास कि ऐसे ऐसा हो रहा है। मेरा कहना है अगर आपको इसमें सही में बदलाव लाना है तो आपने एमएमआरडी के चीफ जो मेट्रोपॉलिटन कमिश्नर है उनके खिलाफ उनको ही लिखना है कि आपका एक है कि यहाँ अवैध निर्माण ना हो, इसके लिए आपकी कानून में ये रेगुलेशन के तहत आपकी जिम्मेवारी है, और ये आप जिम्मेवारी नहीं कर पाए हैं, इसलिए आपके खिलाफ कार्रवाई के लिए हम कोर्ट में क्यों न जाए कि आप इनएफिशिएंट है, ये पोस्ट होल्ड करने के लिए आप लायक नहीं है। ऐसा करके वो अगर उन्होंने नहीं किया तो चीफ सेक्रेटरी के पास जाना चाहिए कि अगर आप भी हम ऐसे नहीं तो आगे आप कुछ तो बताइए एमएमआरडी मेट्रोपॉलिटन कमिश्नर को, नहीं तो आप आपके खिलाफ हमें करेंगे करके। देखिए वो क्या करना है बिल्डर ने, ये तो आपका काम नहीं है। वो आपका काम है कि वो मेट्रोपॉलिटन कमिश्नर काम कर रहा है कि नहीं है। जब तक वो पर्सन को जो पोस्ट होल्ड करता है उसके नाम पे कोई आंच नहीं आती है तब तक तो चलता है। फिर नीचे का कोई काम रहेगा, फिर नोटिस जाएगी कि अवैध निर्माण कैसे हो गया, फिर ये कैसे होगा, ये होगा। तो उसको परमानेंट सॉल्यूशन होना है तो जिसकी जिम्मेवारी है उसके खिलाफ आपको ये लड़ना पड़ेगा।
नीरज, नेक्स्ट who wishes to ask?
कदम सुभाष कदम।
हाँ सुभाष जी।
हाँ सर, झगड़े साहब नमस्कार।
नमस्कार
सर, सेक्रेटरी आईएएस आईपीएस ऑफिसर्स को प्रोसिक्यूट करने के लिए अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कुछ प्रोविजंस है तो आप दे सकते हैं?
नहीं, वैसे तो देखिए कि प्रोसिक्यूट करने के लिए प्रोविजन वैसे कोई ऑफिसर के लिए होती नहीं है। किसी ने गलत काम किया तो प्रोसिक्यूशन तो होता है, वो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। लेकिन अभी उसके लिए ऐसा प्रावधान किया गया आईपीसी इसमें कि कानून में, महाराष्ट्र में तो एटलीस्ट, कि उसके लिए डिपार्टमेंट के हेड की और वहाँ के अपॉइंटमेंट अथॉरिटी उसको ये चाहिए, परमिशन चाहिए। तो वो आ गया तो आपको परमिशन लेनी पड़ेगी ये करने के लिए, प्रोसिक्यूट करने के लिए।
प्रोसिक्यूट नहीं सर, मैं अकाउंटेबल करने के लिए, अकाउंटेबल
नहीं, अकाउंटेबल आप एग्जांपल दीजिए ना। एग्जांपल के अकाउंटेबल बोलना तो ऐसा है
सर, इलीगल कंस्ट्रक्शन हो रहा है, मैं कंप्लेंट करता हूँ म्युनिसिपल कमिश्नर को और वो कोई एक्शन नहीं लेता है, ये तो बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम है अभी।
नहीं, उसमें प्रोसिक्यूशन का प्रावधान नहीं है। लेकिन ऐसा है कि कोई भी अगर इलीगल काम करता है, अभी सेक्शन 54 या 55 होते हैं एमआरटीपी एक्ट के तहत कि उधर वो आप एफआईआर कर सकते हो। मैंने पुणे कारपोरेशन में ऐसे 400-500 एफआईआर किए थे। ये वैसे नहीं होता, ऐसे नहीं है। ये एफआईआर होती है लेकिन उसका नतीजा बहुत कम आता है। मेरा कहना है कि इलीगल कंस्ट्रक्शन हो रहा है और उसका वो ध्यान नहीं दे रहे हैं तो उनके खिलाफ लिखना चाहिए कि ये आपकी जिम्मेवारी आप नहीं कर पाए, हम हाई कोर्ट में जा रहे हैं आपके खिलाफ या गवर्नमेंट के पास जा रहे हैं कि यू आर नॉट, आप ये पोस्ट होल्ड करने के लिए उतना काबिल नहीं है। ये थोड़ा सा मुझे लगता है कि ये तौर का अगर माहौल बन गया, एक से दूसरी चीजें से होगा नहीं, ऐसा माहौल बनना चाहिए। हम आजकल क्या करते हैं कि आप ये काम क्यों नहीं किया, वो क्यों नहीं किया, वो क्यों नहीं किया, ये सब हो जाता है।
ओके, ठीक है सर, थैंक यू।
Clarence sir, please go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
गुड इवनिंग।
So the biggest grievance what actually people are today facing is actually, in spite of repeated complaints, reminders, there has been a total inaction by the officials. Maybe because one reason could be this power of sanction or something. That is the one thing. And second thing is somewhere there are some kind of a feudal lord now nowadays. Like, no, you maybe the number of complaints you make or whatever RTIs you file, they care a damn for you. So, what is the solution to actually? That's a burning issue for every activist today.
So the solution which I just told you that unless you are making individual complaints, this pothole is there, or that illegal construction is there, or some such thing has not been sanctioned. So this has become a culture, and like they are just not bothered. Like even if you make a complaint to the CMO or on the portal, it will go to the same officer for giving the reply. Okay, this is what it is, and what reply will give So therefore, you need to take to the level that it is your duty, official duty under law, to do this thing or to prevent such things, and which you are not doing, you are failing. That kind of application should start. If you have to make a slight change in the approach here, rather than you do this thing, you have to say that you have failed to do such thing, and therefore why we should not take action, or we should go to the court, or we should put higher authority. So that kind of cultural change.
Maheshji.
Yeah.
Hello. Maheshji, see, in these questions which have come so far, okay, you have said that you need to take the top post officer to task and try to make him accountable, or threaten him about taking action against him. Now, several of our fellow activists have are toying with the idea of taking these officers to task under section 217, 218 and 166A of IPC. How far is that a good idea to take the officers to task? Because as you know very well, 217 IPC is when law is not implemented, and there's a loss to the public exchequer, and someone else gets the benefit of it. Wrongful gains are there to some lawbreakers. So is this a good idea to use this thing 277, 218 and 166, 167?
See, 166 I have myself used against my own official machinery. Try to understand. I have but my experience about the sections you have mentioned will not mean much, because how many people will go there? Everybody cannot go do all these things that this thing was supposed to be done and it has not been done, and therefore this thing. Then how long it is going to take? Like all the investigation and the prosecution and the judgment and the appeal and all these things. So it will run into a different ecosystem altogether. My point is that this is again post-mortem, that you have not done this because we are filing FIR, we are seeking prosecution. Is post-event. My point is that if you really want to change the system, I'm always for changing the system, that people should really think that this is my job, I should do, and now there is pressure, and if I do not do it, then my job is at stake. So that kind of change in the activism has to be there. See, this activism of like a grievance redressal activism has its own importance, but has not controlled the entire rod. To control this entire rod, we need to change the approach, and that approach is about holding somebody responsible.
All right, thank you. Neeraj, next. Neeraj.
Redmi Noted Pro, the gentleman in striped shirt. So you'll have to unmute from your end. You're still muted.
Hello.
Yes, you're audible now. Please ask.
Thank you for this opportunity. Sir, can you allow me in regional language of Marathi?
हा बोला ना.
सर नमस्कार. मी किशोर शिंदे. पश्चिम महाराष्ट्रामध्ये आपल्याला कोऑपरेटिव्हचं खूप मोठं जाळ आहे. ठीक आहे, थोडा लेंदी वाटेल क्वेश्चन. आणि त्याच्यामध्ये एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेंट्रल कोऑपरेटिव्ह आहे सातारा जिल्हा मध्यवर्ती बँक. ठीक आहे. आणि त्या सातारा जिल्हा मध्यवर्ती बँकेच्या मार्फत इथल्या जिल्ह्यातील सगळ्या शेतकऱ्यांना कर्ज वाटप होतं त्यांच्या शेत जमिनींवरती सवलतीच्या दरामध्ये, जे आपली सबसिडाइज रेट ऑफ आहे 0 to 3%. बरोबर. तर त्या याच्यामध्ये स्कीममध्ये सगळ्या शेतकऱ्यांना कर्ज वाटप तर होत आहे, पण त्या सातारा जिल्हा बँकेच्या केडरमध्ये किंवा त्या संचालक मंडळामध्ये सगळे आमदार खासदार आहेत जिल्ह्यात, आणि त्यांच्या ताब्यामध्ये जिल्ह्याचं केडर म्हणजे जे सचिव काम करतात त्या विविध कार्यकारी सोसायटी ज्याच्यातून शेतकऱ्यांना कर्ज वाटप होतं, त्याचं कंट्रोल पूर्ण सातारा जिल्हा बँकेकडे DDR कडे नाहीये. जे डिस्ट्रिक्ट डेप्युटी रजिस्ट्रारकडे असायला पाहिजे ते नाही. तर त्याच्यामध्ये एक फ्रॉड आमच्या लक्षात आला की डिस्ट्रिक्ट डेप्युटी रजिस्ट्रारकडे आम्ही कंप्लेंट पण केली की एकाच शेत जमिनीवरती सवलतीच्या दरामध्ये म्हणजे सबसिडाइज रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट मध्ये 2-2, 3-3 बँकांकडनं कर्ज घेतली जातात त्याच्यामध्ये. आणि एक फॉर्ज NOC आहे ती सातारा डिस्ट्रिक्ट बँकेचे जे काही जे सचिव जे सेक्रेटरीज आहेत ज्या प्रत्येक गावांमध्ये अपॉइंटेड आहेत ते देतात त्याच्यामध्ये. सपोज स्टेट बँकेला ते लोक देणार की यांचं कुठलंही कुठे लोन नाहीये, पण ऍक्च्युली त्याच्यावरती लोन असतं. तर या केसमध्ये मी एव्हिडन्सेस घेऊन कंप्लेंट केल्या बऱ्याच ठिकाणी, पण त्याच्यामध्ये कोणी ऍक्शन घेत नाही, कारण सहकार मंत्री बाळासाहेब पाटील तिथे संचालक आहेत. सगळे जिल्ह्यातले राष्ट्रवादीचे दमदार लोक सगळे जे आहेत जे पॉलिटिकल पक्षांचे ते सगळेच त्याच्यामध्ये संचालक आहेत. मग ह्या केसमध्ये आपण कुणाला मदत मागायची?
याच्यामध्ये एक लक्षात घ्या की मराठी में बोला तो चलेगा ना, लाइक यू वांट मी टू स्पीक इन हिंदी और इंग्लिश?
नाही सर, मराठीमध्ये बोलू शकता सर, बोला.
नाही सर, इफ इट इज कम्फर्टेबल फॉर ऑल दी व्ह्यू सगळ्यांसाठी असेल तर यू कॅन टॉक इन इंग्लिश. आय एम कम्फर्टेबल विथ अंडरस्टँडिंग ऑफ इंग्लिश.
Okay. Now, see, one thing is there that I do not know the exact what wrong has happened in Satara District Cooperative Bank and the system there. But let me tell you one thing. This is a disease all across the banks in the state or country, that borrowers go to different banks and borrow loans for the same purpose from different banks. Now, in 21st century and third decade, we are starting. We have to have a system that whosoever borrows, there can be like a class system where the borrower's name appears. It is the responsibility of the bank to advance loans where no loan has been taken by the same applicant earlier. I would not blame the politicians or anybody. It is the again administrative system, the officer who is doing it. Officer has to sign it. It is not the politicians they sign. If they are pressurized, they should not sign. But the ball and the buck stops at the level of officers. If they do due diligence, they ask the other banks whether any loan has been taken or not. This kind of thing does not happen. And it doesn't happen in Satara district. It happens at many locations. When I was collector, I used to hear cases under the Securitization Act. And it is surprising. The central nationalized banks also do not pay any attention to the fact that loans were borrowed against the same assets earlier also. Then I had written to CBI that your officials, these officials which are nationalized bank officials, they are not doing due diligence and therefore banking system is getting affected. So you see, it is ultimately the officials who are doing all these things. So you have to make complaint against these officials to the appropriate authorities.
Hariji. Hello. Hari, I have unmuted you. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Jagdiji, namaste. And everybody, all the viewers, namaskar. Sir, I have a question. This is a typical experience, specifically in BMC. Whenever we complain regarding any erring officer or any officer who is not performing his duty honestly, to the complaint is made to superior, either to municipal commissioner and CC to the ward commissioner. But the complaint gets marked to the person against whom the complaint is to investigate and reply. In fact, it should be other way, that other superior authority or any other authority should investigate and submit the report. How do we come out of this trap?
See, this is a perennial problem, and in fact, I had started a different method when I was CEO Sindhudurg Jilla Parishad. That if there is a complaint against one officer, then one officer higher than him will hear the applicant as well as the respondent officer and then give decision there and there itself. So that is the best way of doing it. And I had requested the government that time also that this system should be implemented throughout the state in all the departments, that these complaints should not be addressed to again to the same officer against to which the complaint has been done, but it should stop at the level of one higher officer at the higher level, and he should hear and pass the judgment immediately. So this is not being done. We need to have pressurize the government that some system should come. But again, I am going to tell you, don't make complaint against these small officers. If somebody is not doing, so junior engineer is not doing there, or some officer of PMC is not doing, you try to say that the Mr. Commissioner, you are not doing it. You are not controlling your officials properly, and therefore he is indulging in this kind of illegalities. He is not doing my work, or he is not performing. It is the commissioner ultimately, because you do not have any powers. Commissioner has powers to do it. If he is weak, that means like this person is indulging in this kind of things. So unless and until you stop at that level, see, if the dam is broken, then like you cannot really at the houses in a village, you close your doors and then water will stop. No, you have to stop, see that the dam wall or that dam doesn't get breached. So you have to do that way, and this is the experience of all the developed countries. The highest person is held accountable and responsible. Then it percolates down. This culture of accountability percolates down. We have adopted a culture that, okay, somebody has not done, make a complaint against him. No, that is not going to help. That may be done, but it takes time. But then again, another person, another official will do the same thing. Then again, same thing will happen.
So any section we can quote whenever we complain that do not pass the investigation, he should not be passed the complaint. There should be another person who should inquire or interest. Usually I complain, sir, I complain not against any junior engineer or some AE. I complained against superintendent or a senior officer who is executive engineer and above rank. So that's even after bringing to his notice, he is turning Nelson eyes on the complaint done or a wrong work done by a subordinate, and the complaint is gone to municipal commissioner. I even mentioned 64C, take action again, dereliction duty. Nothing happens. It is all thrown in dustbin. It is actually very dismotivating whenever we give with evidence that these are the number of followers, not one or two. It's been followed up for years, and then they still don't do anything. And everything is documented. Yes.
Therefore, I am saying you have tried and it has not worked properly. Give one more try and tell the commissioner, Mr. Commissioner, that you are not performing because your officers are behaving the way they are not supposed to behave. And therefore, you are ultimately responsible. It is the municipal commissioner under the statute who is supposed to be the boss of everybody. And he is ultimately accountable. The topic of today's discussion is accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability, we have to catch hold of somebody. Well, see, citizens are not supposed to run everywhere. They have their own, work. They have their own life. And as I said earlier, once they paid their taxes, they are not supposed to do running around. And this thinking has to sit down in the psyche of the populace. And therefore, you must address this thing that Mr. Commissioner, you are not performing. Therefore, your superintendent engineer is behaving the way he has been behaving for the last so many years.
Okay, thank you.
Neeraj?
Arunji.
हॅलो मराठीत बोलू प्लीज. मी ते म्हणत होतो, आता साहेबांनी सांगितलं तसं की खालच्या लेवलला कंप्लेंट प्रॉब्लेम असेल तर आपण वर कंप्लेंट करावं म्हणून. पण जर गंमत अशी होते की आपण द मोमेंट वी मूव्ह अपवर्ड, ते खालचे लोक ते गोष्ट बंद करून टाकतात. फॉर एक्झाम्पल, 7/12च्या संदर्भात नाव लावायला गेल्यावर तिथे बरेच दिवस पेंडिंग होत होतं. त्यांना मी फक्त हो काय स्टेटस सांगत नव्हते, आणि त्यांना म्हणलं मी आरटीआय ऍप्लिकेशन केलेलं आहे. तर त्या फक्त आरटीआय ऍप्लिकेशन एवढं ऐकून त्यांनी माझं ऍप्लिकेशन रिजेक्ट केलं आणि पुढे मला प्रांत अधिकारीकडे त्यांनी मूव्ह केला. तर त्या ऑफिसमध्ये काही होणार नाही, तुम्ही मूव्ह टू प्रांत अधिकारी. प्रांत अधिकारी जायला मला ऍडव्होकेट हायर करा, हे करा, ते करा, 25,000 रुपये लागले. आणि शेवटी माझ्या रुलिंग माझ्या फेवरमध्ये आलं. पण हे अशा प्रकारे हॅरेसमेंट करतात खालची लोक, आणि वरच्या लोकांचे कंट्रोल नाहीये खालची होती कोणावर.
म्हणून तुम्ही काय केलं पाहिजे की तुम्ही जिल्हाधिकाऱ्यांना जबाबदार राहिलं पाहिजे की मिस्टर जिल्हाधिकारी, तुमचा अमुक अधिकारी हा योग्य करत नाहीये आणि त्याच्यामुळे तुमचं त्याच्यावरती नियंत्रण नाहीये. आणि तुम्हाला जर गरज पडली तेवढं तुम्ही असं त्यांना सांगितलं पाहिजे की तुमच्यासारख्या वरिष्ठ अधिकाऱ्यांच्या नियंत्रणाखाली इथे तुम्ही तर अशा कायद्याचं सांगतायत की कायद्यामध्ये म्हटलेलं आहे, रेव्हेन्यू लॉ मध्ये, लँड रेव्हेन्यू कोडमध्ये, की सगळी मशिनरी ही जिल्हाधिकाऱ्याच्या अंडर काम करेल. आता तुमचं ऐकत नसल्या, तुम्ही त्यांच्यावरती नियंत्रण नसल्यामुळे तो असं करतोय. त्यामुळे आम्हाला तुमच्याबद्दल शंका आहे, तर तुमच्या विरुद्ध आम्ही तक्रार का करू नये की तुम्ही याच्यामध्ये कॉम्पिटंट नाही म्हणून. अशा पद्धतीचं जेव्हा सुरू होत नाही तोपर्यंत, तर मग तुम्हाला इकडे फिरवतील, तिकडे फिरवतील, प्रांताधिकाऱ्याकडे जा, तहसीलदाराकडे जा, हे करा, ते करा, आणि मग वर्षानुवर्षे असंच चालत राहील.
पण बेसिकली सर, जसं आता तुम्ही बघितलं की आपण HDFC मध्ये आपण लोन केलं किंवा आपण कधी ट्रॅक करू शकतो की आपल्या लोनचं स्टेटस काय आहे. तसं ह्या ऑफिसमध्ये जेव्हा जातो तिथे मी या तलाठीशी किंवा याच्याशी बोलण्यापेक्षा तिथे PR एजन्सी काय नसतात, असं एक पीएफ ऑफिसमध्ये असं PR एजन्सी होती, ज्याला आजपर्यंत मी ऑफिसमध्ये जावं पण लागत नव्हतं. मेन गेटवरच मला तो PR सांगायचं तुमचं आपली ऍप्लिकेशन स्टेटस काय आहे, माझं लोन हे PF अकाउंट ट्रान्सफर व्हायचं होतं एका शहरातून दुसऱ्या शहरावर, तर तोच तिथे सांगायचा. ती सिस्टम करायची बंद झाली, काय झाली कल्पना नाही. तसंच काय होत नाही, आणि ट्रॅकिंग नंबर देऊन कॉम्प्युटराइज वर काय नाही हे सगळं आम्हाला दिसू शकत. ती काय होते, प्रत्येक वेळा जायचं आणि प्रत्येक वेळा तो नवीन सांगतो. मला सेल डीडचं डॉक्युमेंट हवं होतं, त्या मॅडमला म्हणलं मी वन्स फॉर ऑल तुम्ही मला लिहून द्या काय काय हवं. प्रत्येक वेळा इथून जाऊन 100 रुपये 200 रुपये रिक्षा खर्च करून जायचं, तिथे 4 तास घालवायचं, आणि मग ते हो हे नाही आणलं ते आणा, ते नाही आणलं ते आणा, ते नाही आणलं ते आणा. ते वाय दिस इज नॉट. आम्ही ऍप्लिकेशन दिल्याबरोबर तिने आम्हाला हे ह्याच्यात नाहीये, हे तुम्ही ऍड करून आम्हाला आणा. हे असं का सांगितलं जाते, ते 6 महिन्यापर्यंत चालूच असतं, हे आणा ते आणा ते आणा ते आणा.
हे कशासाठी चालतं तुम्हाला माहिती आहे, हे कशासाठी
बरोबर.
हे कोण चालू देतं, तर त्या जिल्ह्यातला तो जिल्हाधिकारी हे चालून देतो. त्यामुळे जोपर्यंत बऱ्याच वेळेस काय होतं की त्याच्यातले कागदही काढले जातात, तुम्ही दिलं असलं तरी तो काढला जातो, म्हणजे तुमच्या माहितीसाठी सांगतो, आणि पुन्हा तुम्हाला तो कागद नाहीये. त्यामुळे जोपर्यंत त्या जिल्ह्यातला सुपरवायझर अधिकारी हे त्याचं सिस्टम ते आणत नाहीये, तोपर्यंत हे चालत राहणार आहे, आणि हे तुम्हाला हॅरॅसमेंट होत राहणार आहे, आणि हे किती वर्ष झालं तरी हे असंच चालत राहणार. म्हणून मी आतली गोष्ट सांगतोय की जर तुम्हाला खरंच काही करायचं असेल, तर तो जो अधिकारी आहे त्यांनी जर सांगितलं की नाही हे कागद आहेत की नाही, कोणीतरी तपासणारी वेगळी एजन्सी असेल आणि अप्रूव्ह करणारी वेगळी असेल एजन्सी असेल त्याच्यामध्ये. खरं म्हणजे की मी नाशिकला जिल्हाधिकारी असताना 2003-04 मध्ये की ये करण्याच्या बाबतीमध्ये फार 2-2, 3-3 वर्ष लागतात, आणि त्याच्यामध्ये असे 40-50 डॉक्युमेंट तिथे आणावे लागतात. आम्ही केलं होतं की हे डॉक्युमेंटची यादी दिली होती. डॉक्युमेंट तपासण्यासाठी आम्ही त्या वेगळा जो माणूस असतो, खाजगी माणूस, तिथे त्यावेळेस हे केलं होतं, त्यांच्याकडून तो तपासून घ्यायचा आणि सबमिट करायचा. म्हणजे सबमिट करणाऱ्याला आणि मंजूर करणाऱ्याला उपस्थित करायचा कधी संबंध पण यायचा नाही, डिले पण होत नाही. अशा गोष्टी होऊ शकतात, पण ती काय पाहिजे की त्या चीफ ऑफिसर जो कोणी महत्वाचा प्रमुख असेल त्याचं तसं विलिंगनेस पाहिजे. आणि मी आपल्या सगळ्यांना हे सांगतो की हे विलिंगनेस करून आपण जो प्रमुख अधिकारी असेल त्याला कामाला लावलं पाहिजे.
पण सर, प्रमुख अधिकारी तुमचे सगळे लोक येतात, खूप चांगले आता PMC बिल्डिंग परमिशनचं तुम्ही सांगितलं ना, मी वापरतोय PMC बिल्डिंग परमिशनचं ह्याच्यावरती अप्रतिम आहे. पण काही कारणाने ते आता पूर्ण इफेक्टिव्हली फंक्शनिंग नाहीये. तुम्ही म्हणता तसं मी गेल्यानंतर बंद झालं, पण हे असं बंद कसं करू शकतात? यावरती काहीतरी असं असायला पाहिजे ना, कोणी डिमांड केला, कशामुळे बंद झालं, काय झालं, त्याला काहीतरी फॉर्मॅलिटीज असायला पाहिजे, प्रोसिजर असायला पाहिजे. एखादी गोष्ट चांगलं इम्प्लिमेंट होत नाही आणि झाल्यानंतर ते लगेच आपलं तुम्ही बाजूला गेला की ते बंद करून टाकला. FDA मध्ये तुम्ही असताना मी आमच्या सोसायटी कॉलनी मधलं एका गोष्टीचा कंप्लेंट केली होती. मला दुसऱ्या दिवशी तुमचे मला लेटर आले की आम्ही ऍक्शन घेतलं, आणि ते ऍक्शन घेतल्यानं मला दिसलं. हे असं इतर ठिकाणी तुम्ही केल्या सगळ्या गोष्टी चांगली केल्या, पण तुम्ही बाजूला गेल्यानंतर तो परत बॅक टू स्क्वेअर वन. हे असं मग एक तर होत नाही, आणि झालं तर परत बंद होऊन जातो. FDA मध्ये
म्हणून मला सर्व ऍक्टिव्हिस्टना एक विनंती आहे की आपण आपलं काम करत राहा, पण त्याच्यातला 5-10% वेळ ही सिस्टम बदलण्यासाठी खरं म्हणजे की याच्यात घालवला पाहिजे. की सगळे अधिकाऱ्यांनी असंच, मी काही नवीन काही करत नाहीये, की मी काही फार करत नाहीये, मी जो कायद्याने सांगितलं तेवढंच करतोय. मी काय फार मोठं असं किंवा संशोधन करून केलेलं नाहीये. मी जे वागलो तसंच सगळ्या अधिकाऱ्यांनी वागावं असं कायद्याला अपेक्षित आहे. आपल्याला तेवढं सांगायचं की तुम्ही त्याप्रमाणे वागा.
बरोबर. थँक्यू सर. थँक्यू.
वसीम आलम जी.
यस, गुड इवनिंग सर. सर, आई हैव 2 क्वेश्चन. पहला तो ये सर कि जो हमारे झारखंड में है सर, बहुत सारे पब्लिक सर्वेंट जो हैं वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया के जजमेंट को खुलेआम डिसओबे करते हैं. तो सर, एक्सेप्ट कंटेम्प्ट ऑफ कोर्ट हम क्या कर सकते हैं?
नहीं, उसमें तो कंटेम्प्ट ऑफ कोर्ट ही है, क्योंकि क्या है कि वो मुझे ताज्जुब होता है कि कोई ऑफिसर उसको उसका ये पालन नहीं कर रहा है या उसको खारिज कर रहा है. ये तो नहीं होना चाहिए. मेरे तो करियर में ऐसे कभी मैंने देखा नहीं महाराष्ट्र में कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट को ऐसा नहीं होता है. अगर होता है तो वो कंटेम्प्ट है. लेकिन मुझे आपको ये कहना है कि ये छोटी छोटी चीजें से लेके एक बड़ा एक जजमेंट है आया है। अगर आप सब एक्टिविस्ट इसमें अगर ध्यान दें तो मुझे लगता है कि इस देश की ब्यूरोक्रेसी चेंज हो सकती है। 2013 का एक जजमेंट है, वो जजमेंट में ऐसा दिया है कि हर एक स्टेट में एक एस्टैब्लिशमेंट बोर्ड हो ट्रांसफर के लिए, IAS IPS ट्रांसफर के लिए चीफ सेक्रेटरी के अंदर एक बोर्ड हो, और हर एक ऑफिस में वो चीफ ऑफिसर जो होता है उसके अंदर एक बोर्ड हो। वो बोर्ड में क्या करना चाहिए कि समझो कोई म्युनिसिपल कमिश्नर का तबादला हो तो वो बोर्ड में करना चाहिए, तबादला होना है जरूरी है नहीं है, या और कोई वहाँ कोई आदमी लाना चाहिए, कौन सा लाना है। ये अगर किया वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट इम्प्लीमेंट हुआ तो मुझे लगता है कि पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर की वजह से जो तबादले हो रहे देश में वो नहीं होंगे, वो 2013 का जजमेंट का पालन नहीं हो रहा है। तो ऐसे मुझे लगता है कि ये ऐसे बड़ा एक जजमेंट देखा है जिसका पालन नहीं हो रहा है, लेकिन बाय एंड लार्ज सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश का कोई पालन नहीं करता है। मुझे नहीं लगता है कि ऐसा बहुत बड़ा है। आपके पास कुछ है तो मुझे लगता है कि उसमें सिर्फ कंटेम्प्ट उतना ही रास्ता है, और तो कुछ होता नहीं।
एंड सेकेंड,
पे तो आपको मिलेगा, वो बहुत बड़ी बात नहीं तो आप उसको RTI में मांगिए। आप सुनाई दे रहा है आप मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Can you hear me?
Yes,
sir,
we can hear you.
I was disconnected, sir. Can you please repeat?
नहीं, मैं कहता हूँ कि आपको वो रूल्स ऑफ बिजनेस की कॉपी चाहिए, वो तो होती है, उसके सिवाय गवर्नमेंट नहीं चलती है। रूल्स ऑफ बिजनेस तो होने ही है, हर एक स्टेट के होते हैं, आपके भी रहेंगे। वहाँ तो वो प्राइस पब्लिकेशन होता है, वो बेचे जाते हैं, बेचना चाहिए, हर एक डिपार्टमेंट में होता है। अगर आपको नहीं मिलता है तो आप RTI में मांगे आपके सामान्य प्रशासन विभाग से कि हमें कॉपी दीजिए, बहुत इजीली मिल जाएगी।
थैंक यू सर।
Android Bluebird.
हेलो
हाँ जी,
हेलो,
आई कैन हियर यू।
मैं प्रमोद मोहळे, अहमदनगर।
हाँ जी,
हॅलो, हा सर, आपण नाशिकला डिव्हिजनल कमिशनर असताना आपली गाठ झाली होती।
हॅलो,
हा, प्रश्न असा होता, मला ऑर्गनायझर्सना एक रिक्वेस्ट करायची होती आधी, की इथं हा ग्रीव्हन्सेस सेल ओपन केल्यासारख्या कंप्लेंट येणार नाही, त्याची थोडी खबरदारी घ्यावी। कॉमन फॅक्टर जर प्रत्येक जण जर इंडिव्हिज्युअल सांगत बसलं तर अवघड होऊन जाईल। मला असं म्हणायचं होतं साहेब, की यामध्ये आपण जर एक स्टँडर्ड फॉर्मॅट जर पब्लिश केलं, की आपल्याला ज्या अधिकाऱ्याविरुद्ध, कलेक्टर आहे, कमिशनर आहे, सगळ्यांच्या विरुद्ध, कमिशनर म्युन्सिपालिटी आहे, डिव्हिजनल कमिशनर आहे, सेक्रेटरी आहे, यांच्या विरुद्ध तक्रार करताना कुठल्या प्रकारचं एक फॉर्मॅट असलं पाहिजे, असं जर एक फॉर्मॅट प्रसिद्ध केलं तर दॅट विल बी व्हेरी युजफुल। म्हणजे हे सगळ्यांच्या तक्रारी त्याच्यात येऊन जातील, सगळ्यांना त्याचं उत्तर मिळून जाईल। हा एक मुद्दा। आणि दुसरी गोष्ट, मी अहमदनगरमध्ये एका रस्त्याच्या कामावर गौण खनिजाची तक्रार केली होती। आपल्या इथं ज्ञानेश्वर खिलारी आपले उपायुक्त होते, त्यावेळेला ती सुनावणी चालू होती, तेव्हा मी आपली भेट घेतली होती। 3 पट दंड केलेला होता, तो त्यांनी माफ केला। इन वॉच कॅपॅसिटी आय डोंट नो, म्हणजे जवळपास 5 कोटी रुपये दंड त्यांनी माफ केला। नाशिकचाच एक अशोका बिल्डकॉन म्हणून फेमस कंपनी होती, आणि त्यावेळेला आपण मला म्हटले होते की काय अडचण आली तर या, पण त्याचा रिझल्ट यायच्या आत तुमची बदली झाली होती किंवा रिटायर्ड झाले होते, मला वाटतं बहुतेक बदली झाली असेल। तर आता ह्याच्यात मी पुढे काय करू, कारण याच्यात 5 कोटी रुपये दंड माफ केला। इन्स्टेड ऑफ ही शुड हॅव बीन क्रिमिनल प्रोसिक्युटेड व्हायला पाहिजे होतं त्याच्यात, ते तर बाजूला राहिलं, उलट वर 5 कोटी दंड माफ झाला। आणि ते तेवढं मगाशी आधी म्हटलं ते फॉर्मॅट तक्रारीचे।
याच्यामध्ये एक असं आहे की तक्रारीच्या फॉर्मॅट बाबतीमध्ये खरं म्हणजे की त्याला फॉर्मॅट असायची गरज नाहीये। आपलं जे काम केलेलं नाहीये ते काम करण्यासाठी तो अधिकारी तुमच्या अंतर्गत आहे आणि त्याच्याविरुद्ध तुमचं त्याच्यावरती नियंत्रण आहे। आणि तुमचं नियंत्रण नसल्यामुळे तो असं वागतोय, काम करत नाहीये किंवा चुकीचं काम करतोय. त्यामुळे तुम्ही त्याला जबाबदार आहात आणि त्यामुळे आम्हाला तुमच्या विरुद्ध वरिष्ठाकडे तक्रार करावी लागेल. हे खरं म्हणजे असं इतकं सिंपल दिलं पाहिजे, त्याला वेगळं फॉर्मॅट असेच गरज नाहीये. संपूर्ण महाराष्ट्रातल्या 12 कोटी लोकांनी खरं म्हणजे की अशाच पद्धतीने काम केलं पाहिजे. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, आपण जे सांगताय की गौण खनिजाच्या बाबतीमध्ये खरं म्हणजे की हे जे आहे ते क्वासाय ज्युडिशियल निर्णय असेल त्यांचा, की अपीलमध्ये आला असेल त्याच्यामध्ये. आता क्वासाय ज्युडिशियलच्या बाबतीमध्ये माझं मत असं आहे की क्वासाय ज्युडिशियल हा मुद्दाच प्रशासनामधून काढून टाकला पाहिजे. की कसं होतं की आपल्याकडे रेव्हेन्यू ऍडमिनिस्ट्रेशन हे क्वासाय ज्युडिशियल चाललेलं आहे आणि त्याच्यामुळे जो निर्णय दिला तो देऊन टाकतो. खरं म्हणजे की फाईलवरती निर्णय आला पाहिजे, खालून वस्तुस्थिती काय काय. आणि मी डिव्हिजनल कमिशनर असताना शासनाला असं प्रपोजल पाठवलं आहे की आपण आता 21व्या शतकात आहोत, हे क्वासाय ज्युडिशियल काढून टाकावं आणि फाईलवरती मग हे करावं की हे योग्य आहे की अयोग्य आहे. मला खात्री आहे की खालचे अधिकाऱ्यांनी कोणीतरी म्हटलं असतं की हा 5 कोटी जो दंड आहे तो माफ करू नये, असं काहीतरी आलं असतं. त्यामुळे वरिष्ठ अधिकाऱ्याला चेंज करणं मुश्किल जातं. पण ज्यावेळेस क्वासाय ज्युडिशियल त्याचा स्वतःचाच निर्णय असतो, त्यामुळे खालचे कोणी काय बोलू शकत नाही. आता मला वाटतं की हा मुद्दा ऑडिटमध्ये निघू शकतो. त्याचं परत ऑडिट तर तुम्ही करा, म्हणजे की त्याला परत एकदा डिव्हिजनल कमिशनर लिहा की ह्या गोष्टीचं मला ऑडिट करून पाहिजे, किंवा तुम्ही हे ऑडिटला सांगा, किंवा तुम्ही ऑडिटला लिहू शकता की याचं ऑडिट झालं पाहिजे आणि याच्यामध्ये निश्चित काय आहे. आता त्याच्या पलीकडची वस्तुस्थिती मला माहिती नाही, पण त्याच्याकडे शासनाला तुम्ही जरी कंप्लेंट केली तर ते काय म्हणतील की त्यांनी निर्णय दिलेला आहे, तर त्या निर्णयाच्या विरुद्ध. त्यामुळे मग ऑडिट हा एक इफेक्टिव्ह त्याच्यामध्ये पार्ट होऊ शकतो. तुम्ही ऑडिटची मागणी करा.
पण तरी याच्यात सेक्शन जे येतात ना, ते आपण कलेक्टर कमिशनरवर जी कारवाईची मागणी करण्यासाठी ते सेक्शन जरा आता लिहून घेता नाही आले आपण सांगताना.
सेक्शन नाहीये.
सेक्शन नाहीच आहेत. बरं, अच्छा. हा.
त्याच्यामध्ये मी सांगत आहे की तुमच्या रूल्स ऑफ बिझनेस मध्ये रूल 7 प्रमाणे सचिव हा त्याच्या खात्याला जबाबदार असतो आणि त्याच्या खाली मग सगळे अधिकारी हे त्याच्यामध्ये जबाबदार असतात. आता कंडक्ट रूल मध्ये दिलेलं आहे की त्या कंडक्ट रूलला मराठीमध्ये कंडक्ट रूल आपण म्हणूया. त्या कंडक्ट रूल मध्ये असं म्हटलं आहे की आपल्या अंतर्गत असलेले सर्व अधिकारी आणि कर्मचारी हे चांगलेच वागतील, करप्शन करणार नाहीत, ही तुमची जबाबदारी आहे. आता तुम्ही ही जबाबदारी पार पाडली नाही कारण तुमचा अधिकारी काम करत नाही, का तो चुकीचं काम करतो आहे, तर त्याच्यामुळे मग तुम्ही तुमच्या कंडक्टचा भंग केलेला आहे, तुम्ही तसे वागलेले नाही आहेत. त्यामुळे तुमच्या विरुद्ध आम्ही तुमच्या वरिष्ठाकडे तुमची तक्रार का करू, असे इतकं सिंपल द्यायचं, त्याला फॉर्मॅटची काही गरज नाही.
अच्छा. याच्यात अजून एक परवा आपले चीफ जस्टिस हायकोर्टचे म्हटले की या समाजात राहतोय याची आम्हाला लाज वाटते. सर, एका चीफ जस्टिसच्या सारख्या माणसांनी हे वाक्य उच्चारताना त्यांनी त्यांच्याकडे पडलेले केसेस पेंडिंग पडलेले असतात की ते इफिशियंटली घेत नाही, कामं करत नाहीत. मी 15 वर्ष एक PR लढतोय साहेब, टोल अनड्यू बेनिफिट्स गिव्हन टू द टोल ऑपरेटर. तर यात मी आता चीफ जस्टिसला विचारू का की आता तुम्ही ज्या प्रकारे काम करताय त्यावेळेला तुमच्यासारखी ज्युडिशियरी पोचताना आम्हाला लाज वाटतेय. बघायची तयारी आहे सर.
त्याच्याबद्दल मी काय अपॉइंटबद्दल ज्युडिशबद्दल बोलणार नाहीये, पण मी तुम्हाला एक सांगतो की 70 वर्षामध्ये आपण ज्युडिशरीमध्ये केसेस पेंडिंग आहेत, त्यांचे पोस्ट वेकंट आहेत, याच्यावरती सगळे बोलत आहोत. पण आपण हे कधी विचार केला आहे का की हे केसेस जनरेट का होत आहेत? त्या केसेस जनरेट होण्याचं कारण म्हणजे की वीक ऍडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, weak implementation of law, and because of that new cases get generated and therefore the cases are piling right from the lower court to the Supreme Court. So the country also needs to think that how new cases are not getting generated. See, it is like a huge thing is happening. Unless and until you control the flow from below or new cases getting generated, it is not going to happen. And as per one survey, 65% of the cases all across the country pertain to land matters and property matters, 10% to the family disputes and the rest of life. The land matters and property matters come from the faulty administrative decisions. Now, unless and until we put some efforts in improving the system, the new cases are going to get generated. Therefore, my proposal was, and has always been there, that while we try to minimize the number of cases in High Court, Supreme Court and all the courts, we should also see that new cases do not generate in the large number the way they are generating every day today.
शनोय सर.
नमस्कार, मी कमलाकर शिनोय, मुंबई. सर, आपल्याला मी सांगू इच्छितो की आज मुंबईतले ऑलमोस्ट 90% ऑफ द IPS ऑफिसर्स आर playing mischief with the law. कारण 154 सेक्शन 154 ऑफ इंडियन ऑफ CRPC हेच मॅक्झिमम व्हायोलेट करतात. आता FIR रजिस्टर करायचं ह्याच्यामध्ये इंटरफेअर करणं त्यांना अधिकारच नसतो. तरी सुद्धा लोकल पोलीस स्टेशनवर एवढं दबाव तयार करतात की त्यांना पोलीस स्टेशनच्या ऑफिसर हे फक्त क्लेरिकल काम करतात, त्यांच्या सांगण्याशिवाय.
जॉईन करतो.
हॅलो,
हा मी ऐकतोय.
हा सर, हे आमचे पोलीस जे आहेत हे 99% म्हणजे अँटी करप्शन मधला प्रत्येक ऑफिसरवर आपण गुन्हा नोंदवू शकता. प्रत्येक ऑफिसरवर, देयर इज नो एक्सेप्शन ऍट ऑल. AOWतल्या प्रत्येक ऑफिसरवर आपण गुन्हा नोंदवू करू शकता, कारण प्रत्येक ऑफिसर हा इलिगल इन्क्वायरी करून वर्षानुवर्ष महिन्यान आरोपींना त्यांना सर्व डॉक्युमेंट्स डिस्ट्रॉय करण्याचे प्रोव्हिजन्स फॅसिलिटेट करतात. तर ह्या गोष्टीत आपण ह्या IPS ऑफिसर्स विरुद्ध कसं काय कारवाई करावी? मी आतापर्यंत 12 ते 15 IPS ऑफिसर विरुद्ध 166 167 चे केसेस मॅजिस्ट्रेट कोर्टात टाकलेले आहेत. पण आता हे प्रत्येकांना हे लक्षात यायला पाहिजे की या IPS लोकांच्या मुळे इकॉनॉमिक टेररिझम हे वाढलेलं आहे आणि ह्याला क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिस्ट पेक्षा मोठे टेररिस्ट जे आहेत ते आमचे काही पब्लिक सर्वंट आहेत, जे कायद्याचे बिनधास्तपणे कोर्टाला न घाबरता ऍक्शन कायद्याचे उल्लंघन करतात. अशा बाबतीत आपण काय करावं? कारण ह्या देशाचं सर्वात मोठा दुश्मन असतील तर ते IPS ऑफिसर्स आहेत, जे कायद्याचं जाणून बुजून उल्लंघन करतात आणि आमच्यासारखे सर्वसाधारण माणसाला त्यांच्या विरुद्ध काही करता येत नाही. त्यासाठी आम्ही ऍज अ ग्रुप पेटिशन आम्ही हा मोहीम चालवलाय की यांच्यावर 166 167 या IPC कलमाखाली यांना प्रॉसिक्युशन कसं करायचं आम्ही फॉर्मॅट तयार करतो, हे करतो. ह्याच्यापेक्षा आणखी काय करावं ह्याच्याबद्दल आपण मार्गदर्शन करावं.
नाही, मला वाटतं की तुम्ही हे फार सिस्टमॅटिकली करता आहात आणि आय अप्रिशिएट दॅट यू आर डुईंग इट विथ मायक्रोस्कोपिक, यू नो द एंटायर इन्फॉर्मेशन, कुठे काय चाललेले काय आहे, आणि फार चांगलं वेल्थ ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन तुमच्याकडे आहे. मला असं वाटतं की प्रत्येक विषयाच्या बाबतीमध्ये तुम्ही ॲडिशनल चीफ सेक्रेटरी होम, फायनली बक स्टॉप्स ॲट हिम, की ते त्याच्या विभागाचे त्यांच्या विभागाचे होम डिपार्टमेंटचे ते प्रमुख आहे. त्यामुळे EOW मध्ये काय चाललेलं आहे मला नाही वाटतं की त्यांनी कधी रिव्ह्यू घेतला असेल, एक्सेप्ट कुठली केस त्यांच्याकडे गेली तर हे जे सगळं चाललेलं आहे मला वाटतं की आपण एक डॉक्युमेंट करून त्यांना दिलं आणि हे सगळं आपल्या अंतर्गत चाललेलं आहे आणि मग आपण त्याच्याकडे लक्ष देत नसल्यामुळे आपलं त्याला प्रोटेक्शन आहे किंवा काय, अशा पद्धतीने मला जर थोडंसं त्यांना ह्याच्यामध्ये घेतलं ते कदाचित त्याचा रिव्ह्यू घेऊ शकतील, थोड्याशा गोष्टी इम्प्रूव्ह व्हायला लागतील. हा आपण जो विषय काढलेला आहे हा खूप मोठा आहे आणि मी पण होम डिपार्टमेंटमध्ये काही वर्ष काम केलेलं आहे इन मंत्रालय, आय नो. पण शेवटी कसं आहे की मग हा सगळा विषय शेवटी कसा आहे की त्या पद्धतीने नेला पाहिजे. मला एक चांगलं वाटतं की तुम्ही इंडिव्हिज्युअल केसेसला जाण्याऐवजी तुम्ही एक सिस्टमिक चेंजेस हे करतायत. टू बिगिन विथ EOW मध्ये जे काय चालतं तिथे आपण डॉक्युमेंट करून हे ॲडिशनल चीफ सेक्रेटरी होम जर दिलं आणि हे तुमच्या अंडर चाललेलं आहे, हे केलं तर मला वाटतं की डेफिनेटली देर विल बी सम मुवमेंट.
तसंच सर, ऍज फार एज BMC इज कन्सर्न, आता एक सर्वसाधारण डायरेक्ट एक आपल्याला उदाहरण देतो. माझी PIL आता रजिस्टर झालेली आहे, बाय ट्युजडे इट मे बी ऑन द बोर्ड, की क्रॉफर्ड मार्केटच्या बाहेर एक इलिगल शेड उभा केलाय रस्त्यावर आणि बॉम्बे म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशनने केलंय. त्याच्या DMCने त्यांना सांगितलेलं आहे की शिवणाईचे ऑब्जेक्शन तुम्ही बघा आणि ते बरोबर बघा. काल मला फायर ब्रिगेडने लिहून पाठवलंय की आमच्याकडे फायर कंप्लायन्स सर्टिफिकेट आम्ही दिलेलं नाहीये आणि तरी सुद्धा बॉम्बे म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशनचे ऑफिसर्स आणि म्युनिसिपल कमिशनरच्या कंप्लेंट करून सुद्धा हे त्याच्याकडे डोळे धाक करून लोकांचे जीव धोक्यात तर टाकतातच, त्याशिवाय स्वतः म्हणजे इलिगल कन्स्ट्रक्शनला तुम्हाला थांबवण्यासाठी जन्माला घातलेलं आहे गव्हर्नमेंटने, पण तुम्हीच इलिगल कन्स्ट्रक्शन रस्त्यावर करून कायद्याचं उल्लंघन करत असाल तर ह्या परिस्थितीत आम्ही काय करावं?
याच्यामध्ये एक आहे की इलिगल कन्स्ट्रक्शन हे गव्हर्नमेंटला लागू आहे, लोकल बॉडीजना लागू आहे आणि प्रायव्हेट इंडिव्हिज्युअलला लागू आहे. त्यामुळे तुमच्या BMC ऍक्ट मध्ये आणि किंवा त्याच्या MRP किंवा DC रेग्युलेशन मध्ये इलिगल कन्स्ट्रक्शनसाठी जे काही ठिकाणी FIR आहेत, MRTP ऍक्ट मध्ये FIR पण करू शकता तुम्ही. तर तुम्ही यांना नोटीस द्या की आम्ही FIR करणार आहोत आणि ही जी जागा आहे, सगळ्या जागा अवेलेबल असतात त्या शेवटी कॉर्पोरेशनच्या असतात आणि कॉर्पोरेशनच्या वतीने कमिशनर त्यांचं मॅनेजमेंट करत असतात. त्यामुळे तुम्ही कमिशनरला नोटीस होते आम्ही याच्यावरती FIR करणार आहोत.
I have already done that. and I already lodged a complaint with the police station against the concerned officers that you have illegally constructed and encroached upon the roads, and you are endangering the life of the citizens under section 431 of the Indian Penal Code, because you are very well knowing that you are making the road less safer and the limbs and endangering the limbs and the life of the common man. पण दुर्दैव आहे आमचं की पोलीस आणि म्युन्सिपालिटी दोघं संगनमताने काही करत नाहीत, आणि सध्या आम्हाला प्रत्येक गोष्टी द्या तर क्रिमिनल प्रॉसिक्युशन किंवा रिट. माझ्याजवळ आजपर्यंत 15 ते 20 PIL झालेले आहेत, आणि अबाउट आय एम प्रॉसिक्युटिंग अबाउट 50 ऑफिसर्स. माझ्याजवळ 40 ते 50 क्रिमिनल प्रॉसिक्युशन अगेन्स्ट पब्लिक सर्वंट चालू आहेत. बट एकटा माणूस किती लढू शकतो, त्यासाठी हा डिफिकल्ट आहे. आणि देफोर नाव आय एम चेंजिंग माय सेल्फ की मी प्रॉसिक्युशन करण्यापेक्षा कंडक्टिंग ऑफ सेमिनार, आज आम्ही तुम्हाला बोलवलं यासाठीच बोलवलंय की क्रिएट अवेअरनेस अमंग द सिटीजन्स. आणि मुंबईतल्या 1,50,00,000 मधल्या फक्त 100 लोकांनी जरी आमच्यासारखं प्रॉसिक्युशन चालू केलं तरी गव्हर्नमेंट वर प्रेशर येऊ शकेल. आणि त्यासाठी आम्हाला तुमच्यासारख्या म्हणजे एज्युकेटेड आणि एक्सपिरियन्स माणसाचं सदैव आम्हाला तुमचं मार्गदर्शन लागेल.
आय मस्ट कॉंग्रॅच्युलेट यू की कोणीतरी असा पब्लिकच्या बाजूने करते, आणि ॲज यू हॅव राईटली सेड that this movement has to be larger profile. It cannot be restricted to individuals. Once the tribe grows in hundreds, thousands, lakhs, then there will be pressure. And I'm always with you for any such cause, anytime, and then we'll be working together. No issue.
Maheshji, thank you very much. I believe it's a time for you to move on now, and queries will keep coming in. Everyone, I request everyone that if you all have more queries, and if you all wish that we have another session of Maheshji, because today he has to go for some urgent work, he has requested that we relieve him at tentatively about 8:20, 8:25. So if you all have more queries, if you all feel that we need to have one more session with Mahesh Jagadeji in the coming days, please revert back to us. The email ID is given in our chat box just now. Once again, note on my phone number. I would, request you all to kindly give your feedback. If you all feel strongly that we need to meet again on the webinar with Mahesh Jagadeji, then please note down this number: 9869 195 785. I repeat, 9869 195 785. So I would welcome your feedback, and Maheshji, you may kindly discontinue if you wish over here. We would just wind up the webinar, and of course with a promise from you that we are going to meet again in the coming days, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vora, and I thank all the participants for having such a wonderful discussion. But let me tell you one thing: this was a very generalized topic, global topic. If you start discussing thread by thread on particular statute, particular issue, I will be always there with you to interact, and it will be my pleasure to connect with you again. Thank you very much, and I apologize that I have to leave for some other work in midway. Thank you very much for this.
Yes, Maheshji, perhaps the sanction and 197 CRPs and all that, perhaps you might take up in the next session also. So, sure. Because that's one thing that has been left out in our today's webinar. But nonetheless, we'll definitely, would like to take your opinion on the sanction and CRPC 197, where it applies, where it doesn't apply. All right, Maheshji, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Request everyone to kindly, give your feedback on this today's webinar. Maheshji has left us just now for his own urgent work. Let us wind up over here. If you all feel that we need to have webinars not only with Mahesh Jagadeji, but on any other topic of interest for governance, for better governance, for making our officers accountable, for improving transparency and accountability, please give us the topic. At the same time, if you feel certain good speakers are available on this, please let us know. We'll reach out to them. We'll try to enroll them over here in our webinar and make them give us a talk and enlighten us on these governance topics. Okay, and of course regarding Mr. Mahesh Jagadeji also, if you have queries, if you feel that we need to call him back, he's ever willing to be with us. Now my vote of thanks to everyone over here who have participated, and especially our member Subhash Kadamji and the veteran RTI activist and veteran journalist Mr. Vijay Kumbar from Pune. I thank him very much. He was with us. I believe he's yet with us over here. Vijay ji, आप हो line पे? Vijay Kumar ji, maybe he's muted perhaps. Okay.
No, sir, he
So-
left earlier. He had
Actually, he
some
left
work
early.
to do.
Acha, he had some work. Yes. So thanks to Vijay Kumar ji, thanks to Subhash Kadam ji, and our all the members of petition group, formal informal group, who have been, has been a support, has been of guidance to everyone, and supporting each other, activists of this group. The newcomers in the group, if you all wish to be a part of this petition group, this thing, Signal group. Now earlier it was WhatsApp group, now Signal group. You may go on to our website, which our admin Mr. Neeraj had given the website, www.petitiongroup.com. You may go on that, give your feedback on that. There is a link for giving the feedback. There is a link for joining the group. Please, if you wish, do give your feedback, or do fill up the form for joining the group. We'll definitely apply our mind to it and enroll you as we go along. So thank you very much, everyone, once again. We'll await your feedback on this topic, today's topic, and the future topics that you have. Bhaskar Prabhu, our another veteran activist, is with us. Bhaskar ji, welcome over here. I'm seeing you. Yes. Nice to see you. There are many such activists today with us, Sanjay Kurade ji and many other veteran activists with us. I welcome everyone. The Bhaskar ji, you wish to say something?
No, it was a good talk, but I just want to just tell you that every public authority has a standard operating procedure for grievance redressal issues. So I think that the Maharashtra government also will be having a redressal standard operating procedure. It may not be just giving a complaint. And the other is that now the Maharashtra state government has started Aple Sarkar. Of course, that Aple Sarkar is like it's not an Aple Sarkar, but the grievance clearance this thing is there in that, but it's not working very properly, though there are commissioner appointed for that RTS, that means right to service. Basically, that is one type of, so we need to make right to service accountable. And although all the services provided by the government should automatically come into the RTS, under RTS, that is what we need to pressure. If you see section 3 of the right to service, it's the government has washed their hands off from telling that any public authority which wants to come under the right to service has to publish. So government is not made it a compulsory for all public authority under it to come under the RTS. So we will have to pressure to the government that RTS should be by default. So if that is done, it will be a good matter. And I think the commissioner of RTS has also written to the government. So we will have to pressure it. And if petitioner group takes this matter, it will be much better. So we need to have two important. One is the standard operating procedure, which is there in every public authority for redressal of complaint, including the higher ups. That is what I feel so. So I think you are doing a fantastic job and appreciate all you doing effort. And thank you very much for giving me opportunity to talk. Thank you, Gaurang Bora and all others.
Yes, indeed. Bhaskar ji, you are our role model. We follow you. We take inspiration from you and Sailesh Bhai and everyone, Sailesh Gandhi ji and everyone. So excellent suggestions given, Bhaskar ji, regarding standard operating procedure, regarding better implementation of the RTS Act. It should not be made a paper tiger. And of course, Sailesh Gandhi ji has been constantly, being after us to ensure that Delay and Discharge of Duties Act gets implemented. We all need to use it. We all need to pressurize the government so that this excellence, these laws, these are the laws where, it empowers the citizens, like especially the Right to Information Act, the Delay and Discharge of Duties Act, the Right to Service Act, and a proper grievance redressal mechanism. Even one of our colleagues, Advocate Nazir Jagirdar, has been striving for enactment of an administrative procedure code, that makes all the officers accountable. These are 4 or 5 such excellent laws which make the officers accountable, make our, empower the citizens to ensure that the public servants and the public representatives do their bit in true letter and spirit, and implement the law in, for the larger good of the public rather than for selfish interests. So thank you very much, everyone. I believe we need to wind up. We'll await your feedback on this. And of course, I hope that we all call back Mahesh Jagadichi next time again for our another session of webinar on how to make the officers accountable and several such law related or governance related topics. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank to our admin also, Mr. Neeraj Pathak, who has been, excellently handling our webinars in the past, almost all our past webinars. Thank you very much, Neeraj. Thank you, everyone. Good night.